Hi, Ann Z here.
I'm Carrie Z.
And we're joined by our special guest, our good friend, Tracy Houk, who has been a tennis friend forever and ever. She's an awesome player, a teaching pro, and now she has discovered pickleball just like we have. So we're going to hear about her story, her beginnings in tennis, what led her to pickleball, and some of the exciting people that she's known through time and some of the competition. Carrie, do you want to add something?
Absolutely, Tracy. It's so nice to see you, and we have some time with you. So we've been on the tennis court for years and years together, on the same side of the court sometimes, on the other side of the net. And personally, I'd rather be on the same side of the net as you. You, as a competitor, I don't think anybody knows how to compete better than you. So we reconnected with on the tennis court with the USPTA certification for pickleball, and it was at the Claremont Club in Spawn, Berkeley, and that was our first certification for Northern California. And you signed up and you said, "I can't wait to know more about this sport of pickleball." And I'm thinking of competing. I'm thinking of teaching. So this is my first level, and that's also what I appreciate about you is you've always been willing to learn and put yourself out there where you really don't know something, and all of a sudden you're doing it. So that's my welcome to you, Tracy.
Well, ladies, thanks so much for having me. I'm honored. Yeah, it's been an incredible journey, and it's still going. But every time I step on the court, I learn something new. I'm meeting more friends, and the best thing was getting together with you two with this new game that we're playing now. It's been incredible. It's an incredible ride, and I'm looking forward to having more people become a part of it. So thanks for having me.
Well, that's great. It is actually so fun. The learning part is great, especially at our age now in senior pickleball. Senior tennis was fun, but senior pickleball keeps us going longer, and it's a smaller court and we can run down more balls, and so we still stay fast. I really like that. So let's go back to your beginnings. I have a picture here, and maybe you can talk about this. This is one of our. Let's see if I can get this word. Yes, there you are. Where are you and how old are you? How long have you been playing tennis in this picture?
I am between 9 and 10 years old. That's the Mark Hopkins Hotel. I played a little mini junior tournament at Golden Gate Park where I learned how to play, and I was going to pick up a prize of 10 half-hour lessons back in the day, and we ended up playing in one of the ballrooms there.
Oh my gosh, really?
That's outside there. That's just that's a funny picture. Yeah, that's me.
That's a cute one. Well, here's another one just to go back down memory lane. This is you in San Francisco down the avenues.
Yeah.
One of the more enjoyable ready positions I've seen, and where you're positioned in the doubles alley.
And the knees aren't bending. Do you bend your knees now? They're working, right?
A whole lot now. But yeah, you could see where I'm standing. My partner, I believe, didn't want me to touch the ball there. It was more of a player. But yeah, and I mean, I went from that cute little halter dress when I was younger to this attire, which suits me. I'm all about comfort. But yeah,
summer in San Francisco, right? If I'm not mistaken, you got your beanie on. It has to be summertime.
Yeah.
So what got you started in tennis? How did you begin?
Oh, well, my brothers used to play with my uncle, and everything my brothers did, I wanted to do. Anything from fishing to football to any sport, and I wanted to be there. I was the middle kid, so I had two older brothers and a younger brother and a younger sister. So I always wanted to go and be part of my brothers. And so I didn't get to play with them much in the beginning. So I used to just hit against the wall. So I didn't, who would have thought that was the best thing you could ever do, was hit against the wall. And I'd hit for hours and hours and hours. So that's how I started. Yeah.
And then I have a picture here of you in Golden Gate Park, I believe.
Yeah.
Have you been to the new facility since those old days of That was craziness then.
Oh, wow. That was the beginning of everything for me. Golden Gate Park. Wow. Yeah. That's where I learned. That's where I
So
met all.
the Louis family was playing there. There were so many people that just started. Rosie Casals started there way back in the day.
Yeah.
It was one of those public park settings that if you could play there, you could play anywhere, is what I like to say.
And
Absolutely.
everyone that didn't live in the city came from all over, from across the Bay Bridge, from across the Golden Gate Bridge, from across any area. They would come out to play there. Some of the best players who lived in San Francisco played there. So it was definitely incredible to play tennis. Yeah.
Well, I think that that was when the public park system really was in full bloom, and that's where you could come and be challenged. And there were challenge courts, and there you would hang out. We were safe then as kids, right? We could hang out there for hours and hours, and our parents let us do that. And that's where we had to. Ann and I, we did that in San Rafael, and if we didn't beat those crotchety old men on the challenge court, then we didn't get to play. So we got to learn how to play against different players, different people, different age groups.
Sorted,
And
yeah.
that's where we really, I think, learned a lot of mental toughness and the fog, the squirrels running back and forth, all of the pot smoke that you would smell, the bongo drums in the background.
The
Again,
rollerbladers going by, everything. I mean, the
right?
distractions were tremendous. And I thought that was a great learning opportunity to be able to figure out how to play with all the stuff going on.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anywhere. And I remember playing some of the gals from clubs, and they just didn't know what was going on. They were watching, like you said, the roller skaters, the bongo drums you can hear, and I would just have a little smirky smile on my face going, welcome to my world.
A great lesson for the game, because everyone uses all those other things as excuses, and this is now excuse-free playing. You really have to be able to manage the court. Of course, then we can't talk about your beginnings unless we mention a couple of legends here. Was this an exhibition in? Was it in Brooks Hall in San Francisco?
Actually, it
No.
was down. It was the Virginia Slims. And we're really dating ourselves, but it was the Virginia Slims, and Billie Jean and Rosie were playing still back then. And I think I was a ball girl for a while, but I think I was not a ball girl then. And I was lucky enough to get a photo with them, but that was definitely down in San Francisco. Remember they used to have it down off
Right,
Market. I can't think of
right.
called, but anyway, yeah, they were sweet enough to take a photo with me. That's one of my favorite photos for sure.
So when you were watching them play, were you studying their strokes, their games, getting inspired? Because Billie Jean was quite a competitor. Rosie too. They took no prisoners. They meant business. But they were playing, they were serious on the court.
Yeah.
What did you learn from them?
Well, my game was not like theirs for sure, but they were, the top. I mean, well, Billie Jean, hello. I mean, still doing so much for women's tennis, but they were at the top of the game, and they were fun to watch. They just had a beautiful game of, coming into the net. It was definitely different, and they were very competitive, and they just really looked at, even though they were competitive, they enjoyed what they were doing. And I just wanted to get out there and be as good as they were, and the way that I possibly could. So they were definitely some ladies to look up to, for sure.
Absolutely. Women's sports was very different then. There wasn't a lot of prize money until Billie Jean broke the glass ceiling. And then the Battle of the Sexes with Bobby Riggs brought tennis into the tennis boom time. So we're talking the 1970s. And we were young and wanted to just play and play and play. So I think they were very good influences on us. So then you got a little more serious. I'm going to show you a picture here from some more competition. What is this shot remind you of here?
Oh, grinding it out for sure. I actually became more of a counterpuncher. I started off from that first. I don't know if you put that other one out with my forehand, but I used to have a really huge forehand back in the day. Everybody will laugh now. Yeah, that's it. And somehow my grip changed, but yeah, I went from more hitting spinners to grinding it out, and just mentally wanted to keep getting the ball back into play. But this picture here is what I think I was competing at Worlds. And yeah, just hitting one more ball back over the net and grinding it out for sure.
I'd say a little Jimmy Connors style too. You were not going to just go away easily. You ran for every ball. Didn't matter if your ankle was sprained. I can remember one time watching in Visalia, you got back up. I think that's the secret to your success, was you got back up. It didn't matter that day, but you were going to come back strong for sure.
Well, when I see that backhand, I got a little bit of, oh God, it's going to go high to my backhand, and now what do I do? So I had a reaction to this. This is what we do, is we see something and we go back or we go forward. And maybe a little later on the conversation, we would like to know how you're building your competitive skills into the pickleball, because you said you became a grinder, you became something. And then we mentioned earlier about Billie Jean King and Rosie, and they were net players, and you weren't that, but you saw that. So that's where I love to go a little bit later on of how you bridge your tennis acumen into your current pickleball skills, and how you actually have put your game together.
Sure.
Looking through my slides here, I have one here. This is another inspirational player who got a lot of balls back. She was aggressive. This is Lindsay Davenport, a #1 player, and you look like you're at an event with her. I think down in Stanford, we both recalled.
Yeah, it was a fundraiser. We actually, I got to meet Lindsay. Before that, I was living in Sacramento, and I fell into this spot, but I was an alternate for the Sacramento Capitals, and Lindsay was obviously one of the stars on the team, and that's how we met for the first time, and actually we took her down the American River, river rafting, and I have never done it since. But yeah, we both had a great time being scared out of our minds, and she is one of the most incredible ladies. Just a nice lady, on and off the court, but a really neat person for sure. Yeah.
So I'm hearing a theme. After you've learned the game, you've competed, you found your style and your rhythm, and then you were giving back by events that included all sorts of players, top ones indeed. And so there must be a theme for you there of what tennis means to you as far as those friendships.
Oh yeah. Getting into tennis, it was just another sport for me that I could do with my brothers, something I could do to get more like the energy. But I used to play handball. I mean, just kind of short story on it, really, how it really started was ball my to do something more feminine or something, because I always did something crazy with the boys. So she's like, well, try tennis, so that's where that started. But because I was small when you see that first picture, and I used to have a one-hand backhand. I don't know if you all know that, but I used to have a one-hand backhand. And when I got one of my lessons, the pro said, oh, you're too tight, you need two hands, and kind of that's from there. But I was always a competitor. There were 5 of us in the family, and having 2 older brothers, I was always competing. So I always wanted to compete and try to be first all the time. And in order to do it, I worked hard for it. I used to jump rope by myself, and I don't know, if somebody told me to do it, I probably wouldn't have. But I put the radio on and I jump rope for hours. I'd go running at the track. I'd hit against the wall, and it it's things that came naturally to do. So yeah, I've always thought that if I wanted to get better at anything, I had to work at it. So that was kind of the push. So.
And here's another one of our NorCal connections. Our good friend Brad Gilbert, who's now a commentator, played in the day. We knew him when he was a pipsqueak. And Coach Gould, Dick Gould from Stanford. It does show you that you are small. They're tall, but you're small. And doesn't mean that my dad used to have an expression, dynamite comes in small packages. And I think that's a description of Tracy, don't you think, Carrie?
Yeah.
You know, nice as can be, smile on her face, but you're on the court, you have a competitor on the other side. And I think that's what we appreciate about your energy. You're not going to go down quietly. And these two players, coaches, also have that kind of mentality. You keep going, you keep going. You study the game, you work hard. What does that picture mean to you there?
Oh, just the great life that I've had through tennis and meeting incredible people. Again, you know, Dick Gould, one of the nicest people on this earth, really. Everything that he's achieved, he's still achieving things. And just such a nice guy. And he and I, every time we see each other, we have a great laugh. We have some private little jokes we have, and then, you know, just kind of catching up. And Brad, you know, growing up with juniors with him, and he also, as much as he's doing now, being, gosh, Coco Gauff's you know, coach, and still, if he's around town and I run into him, still knows my name, says hello, gives me a hug. So, you know, people like that you grow up with. We don't see each other as often, but we still remember each other and respect each other and remember good memories. So it's
students of the game. Brad knows a lot about a lot of sports, and Coach School, obviously, his record stands on its own with all the players that he's come through. But you're right, the nicest guy, and just that's what I look for in mentors and in people to be connected with. We're so lucky in our game, and I think it's going to translate into tennis. I have a couple more, or into pickleball. I have a couple more pictures. Here's one of your teams that you were on.
That's NorCal, right? All NorCal girls.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think, yeah, that was intersectionals. That was NorCal versus the country. No, and we won. But yeah, this probably, I've done a lot of team competition, and I have to say, probably one of my favorite. One of my last ones of playing team competition, and actually kind of such a neat group of ladies. If you're watching this, you'll see the faces on there, and I've never had fun playing on a team with these awesome ladies. So that was fun.
Well, I think this team might have won the team USPTA team of the year, and I don't recall, maybe 2019. I'm not sure about this, but at the USPTA convention, we voted on. We usually didn't have a team that would win something. We always had individuals,
Right?
And you all were so impressive, and it was such a wonderful, basically a wonderful say that competitors come together and they represent whatever they represent. And this happened to be Northern California, and you all were there. And I remember having one or two of you come up to the microphone. It might have been you, it might have been Judy, and then you were doing your cheers in front of everybody, and it was very organic, but it was just it again, this is what we do. We have a community and we support it, and that was one of my favorite times, just seeing everybody come together. And we have history, and we sweat it out on the court, but look what we get to do. We get to stand together, we get to wear those cool jackets, those uniforms, and we just get to be ourselves and really have that wonderful experience. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
One of our good friends, Susan Mimabasic, right? She is leading the way in the special sunglasses. And Tracy, you're right behind. This is a world championship, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's France. Where she actually, I think she's in an age group above me, I'll say. But we, yeah, so this was the beginning of they do a big what's it called, a parade of all the countries, and so this is us coming out representing the United States. So it's always special. We get to see all the countries that, representing, and we all get together in the beginning. But yeah, and I believe Susan's team won and my team won as well. And but we all get together once a year. The neat thing about it is, we spend so much time competing against each other that we have this time to come together and work as a team, and you have that camaraderie. So that's really a neat part, and we get to see the world. So it's not
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing about playing at any local level or even beyond. And I think that many people don't realize that tennis is a commitment, but it's a great one because you get all these other things as a reward, the travel, the friendships, and the winning. It's fun. It is fun. There's no question. All right, I'm going to top the tennis segment off here with probably my favorite picture, and yours too, Tracy, our good friend, and your boyfriend. Rafa is tall, isn't he? Now, you were in a grocery store. Was this in Palm Desert, Palm Springs area?
This is hilarious. So, long story short, I mean, it is the craziest thing, right? Who would have thought? But we decided. My sister and her husband came with my husband, and we were staying at turned out to be one of the main hotels that all the pros were at. But my husband forgot to bring flip-flops. Anyway, so my sister and I we went to about 5 pharmacies or CVS and grocery stores, and we kept getting just all over Palm Mission. And then I'm going to each aisle looking, all of a sudden I thought I saw him, right? And I kept going, but I stopped I and moonwalk back and look, and I go, oh, that's Rafa. And I don't have my phone on me, which is crazy, but I didn't. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And thank goodness my sister comes around behind him. She had seen him. And I'm like, Rafa, I do. and then he's like, oh, thank you very much. And I'm like, can I get a photo? So my sister showed up and we got this photo, and he's the most sweetest guy that, I mean, here he is walking along a supermarket by himself, la-di-da. I mean, and just, it was the neat thing. Listen to me. I'm still all giddy about it.
Well, starstruck, of course, because he is one of those champions. Again, we get to enjoy him on the court, but you very seldomly get to see them off the court, and you realize they have lives and they have to shop and all that kind of good stuff too. But that's I know one of the most exciting moments for you. And look at the smile on your face.
It is smiling about it. But the funny thing about it, if anybody wants to get another kick out of it, some people were asking me about, oh, what aisle did you see him on? Did you see him? What aisle? And if you look behind us, you'll see what aisle it is. I'll keep that a secret, but it's actually rather funny. So I could get back of what aisle we're on, where I met.
That's a good one. All right, so we've enjoyed hearing about your tennis career, just sort of in a nutshell. Obviously, you have a passion for the game. You met a lot of people. You traveled a lot of places. And then what happened? How did pickleball come into the scene? What changed?
Well, I was teaching. I was still living in the Bay Area, and I was teaching at a club that ended up with 2 pickleball courts. And it was just, it was becoming popular, and I was still playing tennis. But long story short, I ended up getting surgery on my elbow, and so I wasn't doing anything. And then I moved up to Auburn, Grass Valley area, and I wasn't playing any tennis, but I was competing with my dogs. So I was doing some sports, some dog sports with my dogs, and we moved up to Auburn, Grass Valley, and got 2.5 acres. And yeah, that's Timmy and Thor. And
dog lover. That's what you are.
Yeah, and I was pretty serious and got some titles with my dogs and first place and neat things like that. And my husband, he built a sports arena for me on our acreage, and was pretty leveled in that sense. And my sister was coming up to visit, and she brought her dog and was walking him by the park before she came to my house, and she goes, "Hey, there's this um, pickleball courts over there." And I go, "Yeah, I've seen them." And she goes, "Oh, you should hit with me and let's try it." And I go, "I'm a tennis player." I go, "Not interested in it. I'm still a tennis player." But I wasn't playing tennis because I was injured, but I was still playing national and international. So I was still playing on teams and whatnot. So I wasn't against it. I just wasn't ready for it. I was still a tennis player, and bugging me and bugging me. And finally I go, "Okay." I go, "Here, she wants to try it." So I'll tell you what, I hit with her, but we kind of were hitting tennis. So we were banging the ball, and this couple came up to us and said, "Hey, want to play?" And I go, "Well, I'll play, but I don't." I go, "This is my first time on the court, and I don't know anything about it." I go, "There's something about the kitchen sink, and you know, oh, it's just the kitchen." I'm okay, whatever, and so I go, "Okay, and let's do a game or whatever." So we did it, and they were telling us as we go along, and I don't. I didn't want them talking anymore. So I said, "Okay, play another game." They beat us, but I go, "Let's play another game. And if we do things wrong, just take the point away or whatever it is you do." And they're like, "Okay." So my sister and we played them, and they didn't say anything, and kind of took a point if whatnot. And I learned that way, and we ended up winning that one. And I was like, "Okay." And I mean, long story short, that's where it started. I never picked up a tennis racket again, ever again. And
That's
it's been
amazing.
2 years now, going on 2 years. Um, and my friends that were on my team and everything in the tennis, and they're like, "Hey, are you coming back? And we know you're playing this, because I put it on my Facebook page." And I go, "Yeah, well, I'm still recovering from my elbow, blah blah blah, but I'm doing this now." And then now it's like, "Traitor." And I go, "You know what? I'm having fun. I did a lot in tennis. Like, I played the worlds. I played on the pro circuit. I had a ranking there, top 250. I did everything. I'm in the Hall of Fame for tennis, NorCal. I mean, what more can I do for tennis? Then this pickleball comes up, and I'm like, "Hey, new chapter. Let's go." So that's
Well, it looks like here you did have some success. I found this one. It looks like the caption, I think, was one of your first medals. Is that
yeah,
accurate?
yeah. So so I was getting into the doubles part of it, playing mostly, but I ended up I couldn't find a partner, and we'll get into that. But so I thought, we're going to play singles. What the heck? So I played singles. I got third place in the APP, actually up here in Sacramento. So yeah, that's Jen Lazaro and Natalie, who Natalie in the pink, the other pinky. Oh, we're all in pink, but if you're looking at the picture on the left, she's a tennis player too, and we used to see each other during Worlds, and
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
So
So
she's switched over. Maybe you're seeing a few of those people you competed against now on the pickleball court.
oh well, yeah. Back to that YouTube watching, I saw a couple of ladies, and the ladies that I um saw up there, Natalie being one of them. I mean, she's number one in doubles right now with Beth Bellamy. It was Beth Her.
Mm.
Who they just are amazing senior pro pickleball players. I mean, they were amazing tennis players too, but they've taken it by storm. I think they've been playing for about 6 years. So, but they're at the top of it right now, and it's just growing. It's amazing. I mean, we're talking senior, let alone what we're trying to do with what I'm doing in juniors. So
So,
pickleball is
what is
incredible.
the big difference of the senior tennis players coming into pickleball? What are some of the advantages, and then maybe some of the disadvantages of having that tennis background?
Well, a lot of times people think, well, you play tennis so you can ease into it a little bit more. And yay and nay. I mean, we take a lot of our tennis into it, which is good in some cases and really bad in others, because it's definitely a different way to play. It's a different strategy. So it the hard way. I played with some of my friends in tennis, Carolyn Way, Pam Cook, uh, and they kind of told me that how to play the game, and it's different. Even though I came out there playing okay, I had to learn the short game. You
Mhm.
had patience. You have to learn how to dink. You have to, take away the big swings. And
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, we can get into that, but
That backswing from Golden Gate Park would be not a pickleball swing with your racket way
nope.
back.
Well, you can hit a swinging forehand, but it
Yeah,
depends.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
talking to other tennis players and then going into the pickleball, I think we have a lot of empathy for each other. And it's been my experience that everybody is very giving with the information, even though we might be competing with or against each other. We all want to help each other, and we're all having that same kind of frustration level. And once we move through that frustration and understand that this is a different game. We're bringing in our tennis skills, but now we have to do something a little bit different. And those are the conversations that I really enjoy with our ex-tennis players and then going into the pickleball. And I've found that everybody is very this is my experience, and look, and oh, me too. So we're all kind of in the same boat, even
Yeah.
though we might be competing.
Whether
Right.
it's the footwork with the cross step changing when you're close to the kitchen line, or I stepped into the kitchen for a good year. The two bounce rule as a serve and volleyer, if it felt too good, it was wrong. I forgot. So Carrie and I both counted 1, 2.
I did that. I was going to tell you, for 4 months, I had to count 1, 2, and my partner one different time went, "Oh, are you counting? I thought you were calling the every time." Like, no.
And so to catch everybody up, when the first ball bounces, that's the serve that goes into the service box. That's 1. When it
Yeah.
comes back over the net, it lands on the serving side. That's 2. And you cannot hit the ball on the volley in the air before that happens. And so that 1, 2, okay, we're onto something here. We're going to definitely share that. It's so crazy how that happens.
It is crazy. It's so crazy. And it's actually, it was kind of fun because when you're learning something new, I take hold of it, and I grab onto it and I just go. I'm like, let's do it. And so I wanted to start playing at a high level right away, which I mean, you have to work at it. And I think even if you played at any level in this game, you have to work at it, and it takes a lot of time. It's fun. Anyone can play it, right? You can get out there and anyone can start playing, but to learn it, it's a lot more. Just walking out. I was because of what I wanted to do. I found a couple of other players that were willing to I needed to learn how to play the game of pickleball. I could just go out there if I wanted to reach my goal. I'm still trying to reach my So I got out there, and there were days I didn't play. I just dink after dink after dink, let's get to 100. I mean, not in the beginning. Well, maybe I tried to, but I didn't get 100. But I
But
would.
that's from tennis, because I find that pickleball players only want to play. They don't want to drill. If you're just a pickleball player coming into this game from all the other areas, the tennis players understand that drilling, yet pickleball players don't even hit serves. I'm like, you
Yeah,
have a chance to win the point, whether it's offense or not, but you have to get it in with only one chance.
right.
Why
And you
wouldn't you?
get it over the kitchen line.
It has to be past the kitchen line. And wouldn't you want to have an advantage on hitting a deep one, or maybe one that has a little topspin or something high, something that looks different? And I think that at the rec play level, that's probably one of the most frustrating things for me, is that people don't practice in
Right.
any way. And they don't really want to get better necessarily. So you're saying something that comes from your internal being as a competitor, as a former tennis player. And yet I think others can learn from that.
Yeah.
That's key to success.
Right. You're right, because it's like from hitting against the wall. I didn't have, no one would play with me. I was a little itty bitty, and nobody would
Nobody
grab
will
the
play.
ball, or the wall come back and it doesn't talk back to
It
me.
always comes back and doesn't talk back. Exactly.
And that's the intrinsic part of the jumping rope or wanting to get better. And that's where I think you have a value of passing that on to your new students, even to the kids. Even if
Oh,
they're not, even if we're not jumping rope, let's jump up and down 15 times and let's do that again. Because this is what I did with it when I was a kid, and I got better. And this, you see that wall over there?
And it's fun.
That's it too.
It's
yeah,
fun. I
it's
mean,
fun. Yeah, and you can. I do a class right now. It's called Elevate. Just drills. It's repetitive. Every shot, we start off with dinks. Dun, 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 dun. Then we're gonna do volleys, and actually depending, I go at different levels too. So I start off with you know, it can go a little lower, but to 3-0 to maybe 3, you know, 2-5, and then 3-5, 4-0. It just kind of depending. But we're doing the same thing, and these people love it because they'll tell me, "Nobody ever wants to drill. Nobody ever wants to drill," and I'm like,
well, you're
"Well,
introducing a needed part of it.
right." And so I go, "Well, now you have about." Well, it's grown, but so anywhere from 8 to 12 people, you can ask one of them, and they're going to want to do it with you. So you take that with you. But we do repetitive. It's over and over. And sometimes I get to play with them if it's an odd number, and sometimes not. But I walk around and make sure that they're doing everything, well. And then we do volleys, and if they're doing the swinging, I have them actually inside the kitchen line so that they have their paddles out there. And I always explain why, because at first I go, "We're going to be inside," and they look at me and I go,
No.
"Because working on your hands, you're working on not taking big backswings, and just." And one of my favorite words is cooperative. Everything we do in that class is cooperative.
Nice.
And then we do a dink game, and I'm like, we are not smashing the ball. You're moving the ball around. You're dinking with a purpose. We're cooperating.
Dinking with a purpose, not dinking just to dink. That is actually the key. And that to me is where some players are missing that I find at the levels that they're going into competition. Well, we
Yeah,
must play a dinking game. I said, but you have to have an intent or a strategy of
right.
placement so that you're going to create something else. So one shot gets something as a result. Here I have
Yeah,
a picture of you. Speaking of somebody with purpose, is a former number one, Simone Jardin. Where did you meet her?
yeah. She was. This picture is in Pictona. This is in Florida, where I played. Yeah, I traveled all the way to Florida, but she was there, and another nice, very nice lady. Wow, just super, super nice. You could tell by the smile. Looks like she's actually enjoying the picture. So,
And she played tennis, so she can relate to a lot of the same things, but always explains why. I mean, I think her YouTube videos are very helpful.
yes,
I enjoy her style, and she's had some injuries, but still has what a competitor too. Just really keeps going at it, and a good ambassador of the game.
a great ambassador, a great
Yeah.
ambassador.
Mhm.
Well, here's something that looks like I believe on when I found this picture on your Facebook, it was your first lesson. So
Yeah,
now you have your balls. That means it's going to be a lot of shots. It's going to be repetitive. You have
right.
your Babolat paddle, which did you have trouble changing from saying tennis racket to pickleball paddle?
Better.
Did you call it a racket for a while?
Yeah, and now it's funny. Now I have to tell people and correct them, and yeah. I mean, some people would get upset. They're like, "It's a paddle." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." But
I
yeah,
know. And then you realize now you're helping others. Paddle,
if you
paddle, paddle.
get into the game, then get the names right. I mean, it's not that difficult, but it's definitely accidental for sure. If you playing tennis your whole life and you've had a racket in your hand, but you don't call a ping pong paddle a racket. You call it a
Right.
paddle.
Each game has their own equipment, and there are
Mhm.
different properties of this particular equipment with a hard plastic ball and
Yeah.
a hard surface that's smooth, even if they say they can have a little grit or not, versus strings and fuzz. And so the shots are there. You can still do top spin and add the spins, but the properties of that equipment changes the perception and the size of the court too. So you have to put all those things into consideration when you're playing pickleball. Very different.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't even know if I But I did at one of our USPTA conventions, and it was probably last year, and I went out there and they had all the pros out on the court, and I couldn't hit the ball, but the guy was feeding fast. But I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't. This racket is it's too long. Give me a junior racket. So I had a little more success with the junior racket because it's almost the size of a pickleball.
I couldn't hit that volley drill. They were coming really fast. So I was like, oh my gosh.
Isn't it funny?
I couldn't believe it. And volley was my shot. I mean, I lived at the net. So that was a real shocker. So I don't think I'll be going back anytime soon myself.
Well, and you all were saying, no. He was a young pro, and you were saying, but you don't know who we used to be. We used to be really good at this. We've been doing this since we were 9 years old.
But anyway,
We've
he
been
was very
inside of the
patient with
barn right
us,
now.
and we just were laughing because we get moved court to court with different drilling aspects. So you have also, so you've gone into the senior pro matches, tournaments. You're giving it a go. You're competing with some other tennis players, and some maybe have just been going through pickleball for a little bit longer than you have. What have you discovered about your competitive nature?
Well, my competitive nature is the same. I go believing that I can win. But I put the work into it. I train, I drill, I watch videos. I watch you ladies. You guys have the most incredible fun and fun videos that I get to watch. And it's just never ending learning this game because it's new. Things change. Things are changing quickly on it. But as far as me competing personally, I work real hard. If I'm on the court or off the court, I'm always reading, watching videos, watching my opponents. And there's a couple of other senior pros out there that have incredible incredible videos out there that I'm friends with, and I just can't get enough of it. But it's definitely a learning process for me. But probably the most difficult to understand or let go is knowing how well I played tennis and going into another sport at maybe the same level, but that you're starting over, sort of. A few of the players know who I am from tennis. That helps a little bit. But if you are trying to make your way up there, it's a little difficult finding partners. People not quite knowing you. But again, you enter, you try to find a partner, and you play the best that you can, and you work hard, and they'll start to notice you.
So just going back to the competition, that you're starting a new sport. You don't want to have the same expectations of tennis, but you are a tennis player, so you know that it's possible with practice. And even in the senior level, that it takes time to build this new game. You're trying to make connections with some of the better players. So what other way to get it together but to have a court? So that's a good lead-in, Tracy. You're one of those lucky people that has a little bit of space here. That looks like a great start. And then let's see what other picture I have here. Then it got all painted and pretty, and you have your basket ready to hit some, and your doggies and trees all around. What a nice setting. Here's another viewpoint from a distance. So do you have a fence all the way around it?
I do. Well, I think that I started to play so much, and I was over at Johnson Ranch Pickleball Complex, which now I'm working, and I'm the director of junior pickleball.
Right.
I think my husband wanted me to be home more. So he built this court. He had this court built for me. And it's been fun. I've had friends over, and they love it because it's kind of like a park setting. So, yeah. It's definitely it's neat to have and be able to walk outside my house. And
do you have a ball machine?
Not
yet. Is that something in the works?
Working on it. I'm looking at a couple. I really am interested in the Ernie. So and or the lobster. But people are talking to me about it, and I'm not quite sure, but I'm definitely looking for a ball machine. I think that's going to be even better. Yeah,
Even better is right. More and more shots. You get to hit whatever you want.
right.
Well, I want to ask you, what is the reason that you think that you continue and have been addicted to pickleball? What is your why? We're going to each answer that today, just to sort of give a perspective of coming from tennis. Is there something in particular about pickleball that, why do you play?
Um, I it's similar for me. It's similar to tennis in some ways. Um, it's fun. It's fun. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm very competitive, so I am always wanting to win. But I have fun, and I've met a lot of new people through it. And in rec, in at work, uh, at the tournaments, and some really people. And I'm really enjoying the journey. I enjoy working out. It's something new. It's a great passion, and you have a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
I agree. And I like, my particular is, if somebody hits a tough shot, if I can surprise them by somehow getting it back, because I believe that if I can touch that ball, I'm going to get it back over the net. And I live for those moments. That will bring me back to the next day to play, win or lose. And I do like to win also, but it is because it just is such a challenge that this ball has a different property. When somebody smashes that, you can get a pickleball back where you couldn't get a tennis ball overhead smash.
Oh, for sure.
It's so fun.
Yeah, I think the fun part about it is that saying in pickleball, one more game. And it's so true. I mean, it's just so funny that that's what it is. One more game. You could be tired. You could be hungry. You have to go to work. One more game. Okay. You think, but I've had a few injuries, and I've learned to do, to try to pace myself so that I can, stay healthy enough to do what I want to do, and reach my goals. But it's tough to say no to this game. Everybody's enjoying it. And that's, I think, part of what I'm trying to do. I don't know if you want to go there now, but is that I work with a lot of juniors, and to see them enjoy this sport that I now enjoy and love. I have to say, it's so neat. To see the smiles on their faces and the work they put in, and listening to me, whether I'm yelling lovingly,
Well,
but
you have an impact on them. You get to show them something now that you've gotten, and I'm sure they just can
yeah.
feel your passion and then want to do it, and then the joy that you can get by seeing them enjoy themselves.
Oh, it brings a smile to my face every time I show up. They come out to our classes, and I actually have an advanced clinic going on. These kids are amazing. They're even playing. They're 10 years old, 10 and 12 years old, and they're playing 3-0 men's, if they can, tournaments. They're playing. I do some tournaments, at the club, and they've gone out and played outside of the club, and they want to get better. They enjoy it. They're smiling. They're competing, and they are actually making time for pickleball. Whereas in the beginning it was, well, can you do it this day because they have soccer, and on this day they have football, and on this day they have baseball, and on this day they have basketball, and on this day it's this and that. And yeah. And there wasn't any room for pickleball. And now it's, can you do it on this day? We're going to do it on that day. Jimmy wants to do pickleball, so do you have that day? And I'll tell you, it's the coolest thing. That my passion, my first love is tennis, but this is such a greater passion to see kids wanting to play this sport now, and get better at it, and how they enjoy the process. it's not just, hey, we're going to go out there, hit and giggle. I mean, I want them to enjoy themselves, but they have to train the way I train. You know, it's, we're going to hit this, we're going to do that. And trust me, they're learning so much. They can do ATPs. They are doing Ernie. I haven't even done an Ernie yet, but
I
they're
have
doing
6.
Ernie.
I have 6. I got my
I have 0.
Yeah, and these are 10-year-olds. It's cool.
Mhm.
I had
No, that's amazing. That's how exciting. I can just see that. I can feel it from you. I mean, that is to me what the essence is. Now, Carrie, you're doing tennis and pickleball.
I am, but I wanna say about the kids.
Yeah.
The learning curve is faster, so they are perceiving themselves as better
Oh yeah.
than tennis. Teaching to children is very difficult. It's a
Yeah.
very difficult task for them, and as a coach. Now, you're having them be successful, not with just hit and giggle,
Yeah.
but also the hard work. And now look what they're doing. And this is where I believe the tennis community needs to embrace this junior pickleball thing. All of a sudden, they're seeing the send and receive. They're doing the strategy. They're figuring out what they can do. They can pick up tennis at any time because it's a send and receive. So I think that rather than just saying it's going to be one or the other, embracing it is fabulous. And what they're seeing from you, Tracy, is you're bringing your passion to them, and this is fun together. And we can't wait to see each other. So congratulations. I'm not at that space right now with the kids. I can't wait to do that. So
I
I'm inspired by you. I want my littles to be on the pickleball court too.
Well,
I
I want to just circle back around to seeing Tracy as a young player in Golden Gate Park, similar to our story, Carrie. We would play anywhere, anytime with anybody, and wanted to get better. And we got beaten by so many people, but we kept playing because we can get better. We can get better. And then our paths cross. But in the process, you meet a champion or two, and you see that they just are real people. And then you can see that in your sport, or in your now the senior pros. You've met some of the top pickleball players, including you were at had an opportunity with Ben John's brother, Colin Johns, was on the court with you. How exciting. I mean, and to see that they want to share what they know and pass that on. So you're doing that with the juniors. I think beyond the actual skills of the game, you're teaching them life lessons.
yes.
You make such an impact. So that title of Coach Tracy or Coach Carrie or Coach Ann is huge. We take big responsibility of it. And because you're a USPTA professional doing this at a high level of knowing that whatever comes out of your mouth will go in their ears, and you are setting them up for success in anything that they want to do later on. It's really more than the pickleball, and that's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
Let me add one more layer to that. And you're a strong woman model right there. You are strong, you are a woman. These young girls and these boys are seeing somebody that is capable, that is passionate, and that is really what we need to do in our society. We need to speak up, and you're speaking up right now. Now we can't shut you up. And that I mean this is going on, but this is really important for everybody to see how strong we can be, and we can still be who we are. But look at the
But
women
the
that
physical, we gain the mental health with it. We gain the
Mhm.
physical health with it. We're playing outdoors, we can play indoors. You can play anywhere. You can play in California, you can play in Florida, and in between. And we get to meet so many people. You make friends. One more game, and you meet people, and then you never forget those people you lost to, because you're going to come back and get to play them another time. So it just becomes so rewarding on so many levels.
Yeah.
So give us a summary as we wrap up here, Tracy. It's been so fun to be able to catch up and talk to you. I hope we'll be able to do this again. And maybe we can add our friend Judy Newman into the mix, because she has a whole nother energy with her yoga. I would really love that. I think the four of us could have a fun time playing on the court together as well. Give us just a recap of where you think you're going to be going from here, and what you would like to achieve, and where it's brought you.
Well, I'm definitely into to keeping the teaching up with my juniors and adults who are taking my classes with drills, and just working on practicing their shots. You know, getting better that way. And for myself, I'm just, like I said, my goal is to play at a high level in the senior pro and get on a team. So I'll find out April. I think it's April 14th when they call the draft out, and so we'll see.
Nice. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but I'm just enjoying the journey. I love it. It's a new chapter, like I said before, and if I can spread a little bit of my knowledge to others, from juniors to adults to other seniors, um, then that's where I'm going to go. And I hope that people are much as I have been, and it's just been awesome. So.
Well, it's contagious. We can feel it from you, and we hope to follow your progress. And I know that we're going to catch up. And Carrie, we've been invited to the court, so we're going to head up
Yes.
to Tracy's area and play some. So I'd love to do that.
Yes, for sure. Please do. Open invitation.
Thank you so much. Well, we'll be following you and all the different projects that Tracy has going on, all of the different things that the paddle she loves and uses, the Babble at Johnson Ranch. We're going to put all sorts of links in the description for anybody that's watching this, and they can find you. We'll have some contact information in there as well. And reach out to Tracy because she would love to see you on the court as well.
Definitely.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon, Tracy. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks,
Tracy.
Tracy.
Congratulations.
Pickle on.
Pickle on.
Pickle on. Pickle on, picklers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Take care.